both crews patient over that first stroke. Maritime just perhaps a little shorter, winding the rate up higher.
Yeah, they're US national champions as well. They're definitely going to be a competitive crew.
So the race, you can see as the umpire's launch accelerates up to full speed. These boys putting down something like, I guess, 600, maybe 650 watts of power at this stage of the boat, where they ramp up to maximum speed. That'll probably come down to something like, I guess, 540 watts or 600 watts for any of you that's interested in the relevant wattage. If you use the ergometer and get that score and do the cycling. The watt bike, there's the water again, but it's the boys from Maritime. Well, I was going to say, Adrian, they had a slight lead over Marlow.
It's very slight, but the water again is really choppy. These two crews do seem to be coping with it slightly better than some of the other quads, to be fair.
Yeah, well, there's a fair few pleasure boats this time of year on the Marlow stretch. I don't know on the lake in Connecticut where Maritime row whether they experience conditions, but certainly they showed fantastic form yesterday against the young boys from Multi Boat Club. Very confident win by 2 3/4 lengths.
And then here they've moved out very nicely on a very efficient rhythm, aren't they? You can really see, if you look when the handles come over the knees, how much acceleration they're generating. Really is giving them some boat speed.
So they're very patient at the front end, is that what you're saying? And just as they come through, they're on the legs, and just the boat seems to have that little surge as they come through to the finish.
Look at that sense when the handles are crossing over and going over their knees. It's really accelerating the boat, not just the handles.
So what's the difference between the boat at the top of the screen, Maritime, and this boat here from Marlow that's in shot, Adrian?
It seems to be a little bit the Marlow blades, the handles are coming together as they're going into the water much more, whereas with the Maritime crew, the blades are going in the water and they're staying wide as they put them in.
Yeah, there's kind of a little patience in the Maritime crew, isn't there? So they just wait out at the front end and they just get those big glute muscles and the core engaged. And the Marlow boys, maybe just a little in the water, it's throwing them off a bit. I'm sure they know to get their core engaged, and their coach Brett King will have worked on them. But Maritime just doing that. It's a tricky manoeuvre, isn't it, to execute correctly?
It is. You need to spend time in a quad really getting used to, because it's moving very quickly and you've got very short blades, unlike in an 8, so it's quite hard to be efficient.
We've seen a theme of that this afternoon. We saw Jess Layden's quad in the Princess Grace really get effective, locked on in the core, and then we saw that Claire's Court quad really take time at the front end, no fuss, just get engaged on the big muscles and just sweep it through.
Yeah, and it does pay dividends. I mean, one of the interesting things, you think is much more efficient sculling than rowing, but you look at the Olympic level, the Cox's 4s will generally be quicker in the first 400 or 500 meters than the quads, and then the quads, because of their efficiency, will be faster.
Why are the quads more efficient, Adrian? Why do you say that?
Because you've got, every athlete has 2 blades, 1 on each hand, whereas in rowing you have 1 on each side, and you get much more twisting within the boat. And the athletes can sit square as opposed to having to twist and rotate during the stroke. But here, the Maritime crew really showing good blade work, nice and clean, sticking close to the booms, steering really very well, I've got to say.
So the world record for quadruple sculls, which I think is held by the Ukrainian set on the Bosban, is 5:32. And if memory serves for men's 4s, is it 47, 45, I think?
I think it's high 30s, isn't it?
Maybe 37 then.
Yeah, something like that, yes.
Okay, so the world records is definitely quicker for the men's.
And then Marlow still staying in touch.
Well, yeah, as we've been chatting around the niceties of men's quads and men's 4s, we've had a major push from the Marlow boys. And do you think the conditions have just got a little bit easier for them? Because we were talking about the beautiful scull in the Maritime, who are coming under real serious pressure now.
And we'll see how well they keep it together. And if you notice on the riggers, 3 of the guys have their own GPS pace coaches, so they can know what sort of speed and stroke rate they're rowing at.
So they'll be getting that real-time information. But what are they going to be doing if they look to their left, the boys from Marlow? Really just, now that's a fantastic attack from Marlow in the middle of the race, the real sort of dead zone where you're out in the middle of the course. You start to come in now to the noise of Upper Thames and Remnant, but well, Stroke John Cooter really led that attack, and it's put Marlow back right in this race. Marlow on the right-hand side of your screen, coached by Brett King.
They really are. I mean, they were 4th place at National Schools Regatta, which we saw Claire's Court who won earlier, but Marlow really, using that middle 1,000 to just get back on terms, use the advantage of that side of the course in the middle, and you can see from the marker there, under half a length, the milepost.
So there's a look across from Ben Long, the bowman. He's farthest away from you in the Marlow quad, and really the pace goes back in, the effort goes back in, and John Cooper, just impassive, looks straight down. It's Ben Long who's looking and calling for effort. He'll be making the calls. The camera will go out, and I think Marlow have moved through.
They have, and we were talking earlier about Marlow's handles not going in so well. It seems to me that when they got into the rhythm, they've fixed that, and they've become much more efficient at the front, and that's maybe why they've had some good pace.
So you think when they got out of the swelly water, they actually took a little bit more time to lock and engage, and they found some extra pace through there?
Yeah, it just looks like they've got much more patience putting the blades in the water now, which at the beginning, when it was bumpy, they didn't really have. So that's what's brought them back on terms.
Okay, so we're trying to explain technically what's happened for the Marlow crew. They are in the lead, but you can see it's a very, very close margin, and the race is not done yet. Marlow have put an awful lot of effort to get into that place. Maritime looking round. There's the booms ahead, and they've hit the booms. Not again. Philip Bogdanov, the Maritime bowman, he must be destroyed because this was such a close race.
They were so close to the boom, steering really well, and then just got blown onto it.
Yeah, you've got to take a chance sometimes to go run along those booms, but Phil Bogdanov, he's going to be kicking himself at the end of this race.
So if you were in that Marlow crew and you've seen that happen, would you have done anything special to take advantage?
Yeah, well, I think they should just stay the same because they're in the rhythm, and I think I've done that, you know, really come to the end of Henley, you know, gone for something, tightened up, and the boat's gone slower. So I hope the Marlow crew have just stayed in their rhythm. It's the boys from Maritime who will really try and do something superhuman now. Maritime on the right of your screen, Marlow leading in Cardinal on the left.
What a great race. They were really patient, even though they were down by clear water. They managed to really get themselves through and put Maritime under pressure, and then they made a mistake.
So it's the final few strokes. We can see them very clearly coming towards us. They're just meters away. Marlow will win a famous victory. Ben Long is looking for the finish, not this time for Maritime. You've passed it now, Ben. Maritime, they have the overlap, and they are going to be absolutely gutted. But Andrew Morley, the big three-man slaps. Sorry, that's Ben Simon, the big three-man from Marlow. Andrew Morley, the three-man in the Maritime quad.
You can see how happy the Marlow crew for having won. Really a testament to their confidence and just realising it is a long race and you need to stay in there.